Hey there, hi there, ho there, it's Wispedia. Today, I want to talk about the Trials of Osiris. It absolutely is the new, or I guess old hotness, and Bungie has done a great job reworking how the game mode works and how the reward structure plays out. I'm going to give my own background as a PvP player, discuss the changes to Trials more specifically, and then I'll be talking about some potential issues that could arise down the road. So let's get right into it. I'm not terrible at PvP. I'm pretty good, maybe a little bit above average. I have a decent ELO on Destiny Tracker for how much PvP I've played. However, I haven't really thrown my hat into the ring, so to speak, in Trials all that often. I tried Trials of Osiris once or twice in Destiny 1, but I mostly just played PvP for fun. Getting to the lighthouse always seemed like an unattainable goal. I always felt like I wasn't good enough to go flawless, and that feeling was kind of solidified in Trials of the Nine. I didn't jive with the game mode at that point, and honestly, every match seemed like a stomp fest. For the past 2 weekends, Trials felt much more competitive. It wasn't a stomp fest. It was more likely that my teammates and I were going to be paired up against people we could be competitive against and hold our own. We were also able to coordinate attacks and triumph over the other teams, eventually getting all 3 of us to the lighthouse, albeit the first week in a weird configuration since we reset and had different progress on our cards. But still, we made it in the first week and the second week, even though maybe the second week was a little bit easier. I'm really proud of it. I never honestly thought I would make it, but here we are. I've been flawless twice now. And before anyone jumps down my throat saying it isn't a big deal because it's easy now, I really don't care. It was fun, I accomplished something I wasn't sure I'd ever get to do, and I'm happy with the progress that I made. And that, to me, actually gets to the root of why I loved playing Trials the last 2 weekends. I learned so much about my own playstyle. I learned about how to engage the enemy team and how to adjust strategies so that we could come back from being down 3 or even 4 rounds. I learned effective ranges for different weapons. I learned routes and lanes to take through the map. I had friends who helped me and gave me tips on how to play intelligently. I learned enough that I ended up being my team's tactician on our flawless runs. I was calling out shots and coordinating with my team, and it worked. We made it to the lighthouse. In a single weekend, I have gone from doubting myself in PvP settings to feeling like I can hold my own in one of the most competitive game modes in Destiny 2. And even if that's just because of player population, lack of cheaters and recovs, luck with matchmaking, or any other number of excuses, you absolutely cannot deny that Bungie has met their goals with the Trials changes. So let's talk about them. Bungie's goal here was to get more players into the playlist. Goal achieved. So many changes have made Trials way more friendly for players and honestly made it much more approachable for every stripe of Destiny player. Banning of cheaters, taking a stance against recovs, anti-cheat, the new loot system, which rules by the way, the new card system, and even changes to how the game mode work have all made Trials a much more enjoyable time. As far as cheaters and recovs go, it feels way better to know that you're playing against the people who actually own the account and that are hopefully not using hacks and aimbots. There's always going to be some people using these somehow, but I'm happy that the playing field is a lot more leveled out. It makes hopping into the playlist much more aspirational, and that's the biggest part of all of these changes. Aspirational content and goals have to be something you can attain. If you feel discouraged every time you try to chase after a goal, you're going to stop at some point. It doesn't feel good to constantly have your nose to the grindstone and not see yourself getting closer to what you're looking for. The aspiration is gone in that case. Going flawless is more aspirational now, and it doesn't lose its prestige just because more people have it. It wasn't really even prestigious before, especially considering how many people were resorting to cheats and recovs just to get it. Okay, enough about cheaters and recoveries. Let's talk about the loot system and the card system. The loot system in Trials is amazing. I love that you can decide what you get from the Trials engrams. I love that you can use extra engrams to unlock more weapons and armor. This playlist is extremely rewarding even if you don't get flawless. You can still continually rank up and get loot from every match that you play, but if you do go flawless, you are absolutely rewarded for doing so. Adept weapons, cosmetics, etc. all make going flawless so extremely rewarding. Plus, you can even keep running with the same card to earn more engrams that can be decrypted into more adept weapons. It's a fantastic system, and I am a huge fan of Bungie giving us targeted farms. Any steps away from RNG and towards targeted pursuits feel so much better. And Trials is full of those now. I've already gotten a God Roll Messenger in Shaira's Wrath this weekend, and I'm definitely looking forward to earning more weapons that can help me in other game modes. I also really like the cards now. Mercy is always helpful when you're making a flawless attempt. The new Wealthy card plays into the strengths of this loot system really well, giving you even more rewards at 3, 5, and 7 wins. It's fantastic. Plus there's the added bonus of pinnacles and upgrade materials. It's so extremely rewarding to be able to earn all of this loot. It's a great system, and it keeps people engaged with Trials even after they go flawless. Then there are the game adjustments. I'm happy you can't hold on to extra special ammo or heavy ammo after a round. It means each team starts on equal grounds every round and forces people to consider their special ammo more closely. It also lets you know when you can push engagements if the other players have missed their shots. Rounds are 90 seconds, so you're encouraged to engage quickly. My team completely turned the game around by pushing the engagements right off the jump. The other team was reacting too slowly, and we were able to overwhelm them by moving in and picking them off one by one. This encourages you to consider how you're moving across the map and where exactly you want to engage the enemy team, keeps the game moving and flowing, and rewards good movement. All told, the Trials changes are mostly positive across the board, and it shows too. I haven't seen the Destiny community this excited about anything in the game since ever, I think. Everyone I've talked to has loved these changes. It feels great to be this excited about the game, and it has drawn a lot of people into the playlist. It's been the most played weekend of Trials in Destiny 2, and deservedly so. Well, I mean, at least the first weekend was. But now that we're past the second weekend of Trials, we should probably talk about how that went. Okay, the Flawless Bowl happened. I was thinking beforehand that it could maybe make Trials a bit more exciting after you had reached Flawless, as you would have a better chance of playing against other players who are closer to your skill level. However, I played one match this week after going Flawless myself, and I'm sure that many middling or slightly above average players found themselves in a very similar boat. As such, I have heard a lot of different people having many different experiences with the Flawless Pool. I've heard some folks had a good time. I've heard some others matching with the same team multiple matches in a row. It seems it depends a lot on the timing of when you play, and honestly, the initial Flawless run kinda depends on that too. I enjoyed my first 2 attempts at a Flawless run during the last weekend. The first time I ran though, my group ended up matching players that were much higher skill level than on our second attempt. I'm not sure what the discrepancy is there, but our first run was Friday night and we fell at Game 7 right before the Lighthouse. The second run, the successful one, was on Saturday night. We struggled a bit in our first 2 or 3 games, but eventually went on a bit of a tear and ended up going Flawless almost right off the rip, not even using our Mercy. I also got weaseled out of Game 7 on that card, but got put back into the match when I eventually logged back into the game. Luckily, my teammates were able to hold their own until I got back in, and honestly, that was pretty cool. I'm glad you can sometimes rejoin games if you get error coded. But that aside, the matchmaking definitely was confusing. We did change our third member to someone who hasn't played a bunch of Trials, so I don't know if maybe the matchmaking was based off of his ELO or combat rating, but who knows. I just know we had a much easier time with the people we were matching with on Saturday as opposed to Friday. So if that's the intention with the matchmaking, that it gets easier to go Flawless as the weekend goes on, then I guess the Flawless pool change was successful, technically. More people did go Flawless this weekend, so that's pretty cool. But a lot of people are saying that the rewards for playing in the Flawless pool are not enough to entice them to continue playing. That seems like a fairly large problem for Trials. People should have a reason to continue playing even if they have gone Flawless. If they don't, the Flawless pool is going to dry up. People will stop playing after reaching the Lighthouse. I did. I'm certain others did too. More chances at adept rolls, or even more masterworking materials would be nice. Maybe more cosmetics, special glows for going Flawless multiple times. I don't know, but Bungie is experimenting with the playlist already, which is very cool, so I'm sure they will think of something. The other issue with matchmaking is that you can't really play with friends who haven't gone Flawless after you've been to the Lighthouse. So carries are kinda off the table unless you reset your card at 6 wins. There are a couple of ideas for this from the community, and one that I like is that you could re-enter regular matchmaking after resetting a card, or the matchmaking could be based off of the majority of players on the team. So if 2 members have gone Flawless, they're in the Flawless pool. If 2 players haven't gone Flawless, they'll be in regular matchmaking. Either way, I don't think that Sherpas or helps should be punished, or that people should be punished for playing with friends that have already achieved Flawless for the week. Again, Bungie is doing a lot of experimentation with Trials this season, and I think we're going to see a lot more exciting stuff from them as time goes on. They're also, way smarter than me, and this is their job to make the game better, so, I'm hoping that Trials stays healthy for the long term, as I'm really enjoying myself in the playlist. However, I can definitely see some problems arising if some pain points are not addressed. I don't want to present these as things that will kill Trials, or things that are Bungie's fault, because Bungie has really done some solid work on this revamp. They really, really turned the fun up to 11 on this one. However, there are some roadblocks that I think we need to look out for as a community. First one is FOMO. As excited as I am that I was able to play with a few friends and make a trip to the Lighthouse, I know that there are a bunch of people I didn't get a chance to play with and other folks that are feeling left out of Trials runs. I want to do my best to play with as many people as possible, but life is busy. You can't always play with everybody that you want to. I'd encourage you to do your best to get friends involved. Rotate people on your team. Practice with people you're planning to run to the lighthouse. Get a flow going so that you aren't just picking up from zero to make a flawless attempt. I promise it will help. This problem has honestly also been exacerbated by the change to flawless matchmaking this past weekend. But if you're feeling left out of a run, try getting hooked up with an active clan or Discord server. I highly suggest Dojo Clan's Discord server, which I have so graciously included a link to in the description. There's a great crew of people who played a lot the past 2 weekends. Playing with a team of 3 is a much easier run. Being able to communicate and coordinate with your team gives you a distinct advantage over less coordinated groups. Another potential issue is matchmaking, and it's something that a few solo queue players are talking about already. I like not splitting up the player population, but if you aren't using chat at all, you will be at a very noticeable disadvantage, so proceed with caution. Another potential issue could be reward longevity. As long as there's a fairly constant stream of new Trials weapons each season or so, there shouldn't be too much of an issue here. The only issue with the current loot system is that you will likely be getting your god rolls of pretty much everything this season. That's a good problem, by the way, but it's likely that some people will stop playing the playlist after they get the gear they want. If we want the player population to stay where it is, there has to be incentive to play, and that's another issue, player population. The more people there are in the player pool, the better the matches will be, and the more fun the playlist itself will be. I know that we can't expect everyone to play every week, but the more people we get into the playlist, the more fun everyone will have. The biggest thing for me about these changes to Trials is that it has completely reawakened my urge to get good in PvP. I'm even hopping back into freelance competitive so that I can practice positioning in maps and work on when to push and when not to in 3s. I'm spending time learning how to move better and play better. I'm watching videos about controller settings and the amazing 40-60 rule video that Shadow put out. The changes have made me not only excited for Trials, but also much more interested in PvP in general. I'm really looking forward to hopping into Trials most weekends and making a run for the Lighthouse. So you can expect to see some Trials streams here on YouTube in the future. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Tell me how you're feeling about Trials in the comments below, and do the usual YouTube things, like and sub, and check out the Dojo Discord. It's a great place full of awesome people. We're building a really solid community there. You can catch me streaming here on YouTube on Monday afternoons, Tuesday nights, and sometimes on the weekends. If you want notifications for that, feel free to ring the bell to join the Mad Sloth Crew Noti Squad. And I'll catch you next time.